Hey there everyone, welcome back to another Ark Survival Ascended video. I'm Captain Beefy. This is the Game Vault, and we're going to talk about the latest news from the Ark Discord, and I'm going to go over the top 5 mods I'm looking forward to and hoping that will be available for consoles when the game finally releases this month. Not my promise, their promise. So let's cue up the music and we'll get right to it. Alright, so first up, the Live Ops update posted by Dolly was the last communication in the announcements. Stated this: "We are continuing work on server stability in regards to memory. Tonight's deployment yielded 80% reduction in out-of-memory issues. What does this mean for players? You'll immediately experience more playability and far longer uptime, approximately 4 to 5 times more, before memory causes issues on servers. We will continue to focus on this heavily throughout the week to resolve 100% of the remaining uptime issues. Thank you for your patience as we shake out these immediate post-launch crinkles. We're getting there." So kudos to the team for continuing to work behind the scenes to stabilize the servers for everybody. I've heard a lot of complaints online, seen a lot of people talking about it in videos, where servers are up for an hour, maybe 2, then they are crashing, they're going down, and it's taking forever for them to get back up. Hearing these things almost makes me happy that it's not out for console yet, because I don't have to experience that aggravation at this time. And I believe that's only on official servers, not private servers, so maybe that wouldn't have impacted me so much. It's got to be frustrating and aggravating, and my heart goes out to the players that are suffering through that, but it sounds like things have improved drastically, and if they were only lasting an hour or two, 4 to 5 times that will be anywhere from 4 to 10 hours before a server goes down. Now that's still not acceptable, but it's better, but anyone who's played Ark knows that a server going down at an inopportune time can mean the death of your character, the death of your tames, the loss of your items, and all kinds of horrible stuff can happen. And I understand there have been some rollbacks and all involved with that. There's so much going around about it, it's hard to keep it straight, but hopefully they get this stuff resolved soon, and hopefully we get the console launch soon. There still hasn't been any update on that. It is November 1st now, so this is the month that they promised. Well, actually they promised October 31st at the latest, but this is their second promise. Don't break it this time, Wildcard. Alright, well, let's talk about mods next. Alright, if you want to peruse through the mods that are available for Ark Survival Ascended at this time, and at the time of making this video, there's 164 projects up there. You're going to go to curseforge.com, and I will leave a link down in the description so you can head over there yourself and look through the various mods. They do have a method of filtering through them, so you can look for specific types of mods that you want, and you can sort them in different ways. You can actually search the mods if you're looking for something in particular that maybe you used to use on, Ark Survival Ascended, to see if it's been ported over. So it looks pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to it. And these are all free mods right now. And my understanding from things I've heard is that the free mods that you're going to see on here, paid mods are not going to be like the mods you see on here. And we're going to, like I said, I'm going to show you my top 5 mods. Or anticipated mods, I should say. Paid mods are going to be more like full DLCs from my understanding. Full maps with new creatures, boss fights, caves, the whole 9 yards. So that kind of takes the sting out of having to pay for a mod. I mean, if it's essentially a DLC, I don't know if they're going to charge DLC prices for it or what. Hopefully, being that they're mods, they're a little bit cheaper, and I hope that they are paying the modder a fair percentage of what they earn, and not screwing them over. I know how companies are, just saying. But in any case, let's get to looking at these different mods and seeing what we're talking about. Alright, so I'm going to do these in no particular order. These are just 5 of the ones I saw that I really liked. I've seen other YouTubers use them, and they piqued my interest. I'm like, well, that's kind of cool, Most of them are quality of life related. I'm not looking for mods that are going to make the game easy so to speak, but I am looking for mods that will help maybe mitigate some of the tedium of it, especially because I'm going to be making content for it. We're going to be live streaming and all that. I want to keep things moving forward so that we can continually progress. No one wants to watch a live stream of 3 guys running around with pickaxes, chopping up rocks, hoping to get enough metal to build a forge. You know, that's not what it is. That's not what people want. So we want to keep things exciting and interesting and all that. And these mods are going to definitely help out with that for the most part. First one is Utilities Plus. On the list, this is a modification for Ark Survival Ascended that adds a version of many existing items that can be used over and over again, plus some quality of life items such as a reusable bola, flare gun, grapple hook, parachute, spear, torch, and whatever U+ binoculars are. I'm not really sure what those are, but cool. Now, this will make the game easier for sure, especially early game, because, you know, in the beginning, resource management is tough. I probably wouldn't add this in until we were established, and then it's just kind of like, geez, I forgot to make bolas. I have all the stuff and all that, and it's just an aggravation at that point. I would add this in probably around level 50 or so when we're established and we've got decent bases and everybody's, you know, we've reached that point where making a set of bolas or parachutes and all that, it's just an aggravation. We won't even be using spears at that time, and probably not even torches. Well, maybe torches still. I don't know what the U+ binoculars are. I'm not really sure. If that's something OP, if possible, I would disable it in the mod. Just because I know tech binoculars exist in Ark Survival Evolved, and they're really cool, really good. And I don't want something like that available from, you know, from the very first map, because I feel like that would just throw things out of balance. And when the tech binoculars show up, what's the point of them, right? So, in any case, we'll see what that's all about. So another mod I'm really interested in is called the Super Spyglass, and this one is created by Orion Sun as an open source mod, so credit goes to him. Features of this is it basically takes your spyglass and it makes it more powerful. It shows you all relevant stats of dinos, shows how all of the dinos' points, wild and tamed, have been spent, increased range on it, variable zoom using a mouse wheel. I'm sure that could be adjusted for a controller. No overlay when zoomed in, shows stats even if just holding it, and you can lock the stats to a certain dino by left clicking. You can lock the stats. I don't know what that means exactly. I'll have to figure it out if and when I can get a hold of this. This is definitely a quality of life item. Will it make the game easier? Not necessarily, but it will help you from wasting time taming crap dinos. Now, we all know that the way points are distributed on dinos in Ark is they get a certain amount of points to be distributed between various things like their melee, their health, their weight, their stamina, oxygen, food. It used to be movement speed. Even movement speed was the thing, even though points would be wasted in there if they were spent there, and so forth and so on. So based on the level of the creature, at the time it's wild, and then again when you tame it up, those points get distributed randomly around there, and you can get good or bad dinos. So by using a spyglass, you can actually, and as you play, you'll learn what level of creature, what's a good number, you know, because sometimes the stats will roll in a particular way that a certain stat has an unusually high number in it, you know, whereas most stats usually roll, let's just use a round number of 30, for instance, you know, everything's in the 30s, but all of a sudden you find a dino that has something in the high 40s, like melee, you're gonna be like, oh wow, that had a good roll, that is definitely worth a tame, you know. So you're gonna tame that one down, and then maybe you'll find one later that has something in the 40s in health. And you say, oh, I'm going to tame that one. I'm going to breed these two together and try to get a dino with that health and all that. It'll definitely help with the breeding process and finding the best dinos you can for the game. So, yeah, this is definitely a must. All right, next up is the TG stacking mod, 10,090. This one I'm kind of on the fence about. Yeah. And if I do this one, it would be added later on. Again, probably around level 50 or so, the same time the Utilities Plus one would go in. Because in early game, it would make things just ridiculously easy. The stacking mod increases stacks to 10,000 in a stack. Ammo and kibble go up to 500 and gives you a 90% weight reduction. That's ridiculously powerful. Yeah. But late in the game, again, will it make it easier? Yeah, it would definitely make it easier. When you're doing big builds and stuff like that, you know, when you're kind of entering that end game, you've been on the map for a while, and you're building your huge kibble farm, or you're building your huge breeding base, or whatever, it would definitely come in handy to go out there with a Doedicurus and be able to bring home 100,000 stone as opposed to just a couple thousand, you know. This is a rough number there. So this is something I would definitely add, but it wouldn't be a day one thing. I do not want to be able to run around on the map with, you know, huge stacks of resources that weigh nothing in the beginning. I think that would take a lot of the fun out of that early game struggle. So, but this one probably, and most likely, and yeah, I would almost say definitely will end up in the game at some point. Cryopods. Hey. I was around before cryopods, and I'm going to miss them terribly. And this is another mod that would come later in the game, level 50, 55, whatever, somewhere around there, I would say, when you would normally be able to get access to making cryopods. I wouldn't want to put it in before then. And only because we plan on doing a lot in this game. I plan on doing a lot of breeding, a lot of taming, and all that. And cryopods will make things so much easier in regards to that sort of thing, because you're not going to, you know, if you're going to be breeding creatures, you're going to end up with dozens and dozens of breeders, especially if you're stacking mutations as you go through and, you know, you stack that second health mutation, that third health mutation. There's going to be a lot of garbage creatures that come out of it, and, you know, there needs to be a way to deal with that. If you can put them in cryopods at least and stick them in a cryo fridge, you don't have to build a massive base just to hold dozens of Rexes while you're looking to breed up those awesome, highly mutated Rexes to go ahead and fight, you know, the Megapithecus on the alpha level. You can just say, alright, you know, I'll keep podding these guys up, put them in the cryo fridge, and eventually I'll deal with them one way or the other. So cryopods definitely will be coming to our servers, but again, it won't be till later on through our playthrough. And here's a fifth one that I've definitely been interested in ever since I heard about it for the first time. It's a crafting skill potion. So this potion can be unlocked at level 1 and is craftable inside a player's inventory. It requires 20 major berries, 5 narcotics, 2 rare flowers, 2 rare mushrooms, and 5 stimulants, which is essentially 10% of what a mind wipe costs to craft, and it gives players a buff which lasts for 2 minutes. When consumed, your current character stats will be reset. Your ability to apply available points to your character will be locked, and you will not be able to consume a Mind Wipe tonic, and all of your possible points will be applied into crafting skill. Once the buff timer runs out, all level up points will be applied to your stats as they previously were, and the restrictions for applying any new level up points and consuming Mind Wipe tonic will be removed. Simple. When I want to craft something, like if I'm going to do a boss fight, and we're going to take Rexes in there, and we've searched and searched, and we finally found a good saddle blueprint. Before I build that blueprint for 20 Rexes, I'm going to want to use this and then build it, because upping your crafting skill is only useful at the time you're crafting things. It's not and it's only useful when you're crafting things using an actual blueprint, not just regular crafting. You're not going to craft a regular bow and get 130% bow. It's only useful for these, for when you do blueprints. So, you know, you can get a certain percentage above what it promises you. If it promises you a protection of 100, let's say, on a saddle, you know, defense of 100, and you craft 20 of them, you're going to find 20 saddles that have more than 100 protection on them at varying numbers, because it's random each time. You might get one that's 110, 130, 115, 107, 109, and so on and so forth. I like to use this too when we find a really good rifle blueprint or a really good weapon or something like that that can be useful for everybody. You know, why just craft one when I can say, alright guys, let's all get together, make sure we got enough materials for it, because a lot of times these blueprints, especially really, really good ones, can be quite expensive. But let's all get together, and I'm going to craft us all a new gun. Let's go. Boom. take one of these potions, do it, and then 2 minutes later I'm back to normal and life is good. Otherwise, you have to craft 2 Mind Wipe tonics, take one, then you have to put everything in crafting skill, and then you got to select all your engrams again later, and that's a pain in the ass. Nobody wants to do all that. To keep your engrams and all that, this is well worth it, and I think it's probably, yeah, this is a must-have. And even though it's available at level 1, you're not going to have these things at level 1 anyway, and you're not going to be finding blueprints worth doing that for at level 1, and you're not going to have the resources for it, so who cares? It doesn't matter what level this is enabled at. It probably won't get used, even if it's available from day 1, until we get into the end game a little bit, until we're way past level 50 and we're ready to take on some of these bigger boss fights and do stuff like that, you know. So it is what it is. But yeah, that one will definitely be a day 1 thing. All right, so last but not least, we're going to do an honorable mention here, and this honorable mention is going to cover several different mods that used to be, at least my understanding, they were under one blanket mod, I believe, for Ark Survival Ascended. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments. I don't know. I never played with mods because I was playing on the PS5. But these are creature mods, and that's pretty cool. You know, there's some really cool creatures in there. Now, I don't want to add creatures to the island. Flat out, I don't want to add any creatures to the island. I think each map has a really cool balance to it as far as the type of creatures you find there and the mobility they provide for you on that map. Not having flyers on Aberration, but needing to get a rock drake so you can get around with ease is cool. It's a different method of doing it. So I think it's cool, you know, because if you add certain creatures to maps, it might screw up the balance of things. If you add these creatures to the island, it might take the place of another creature that normally spawns there and impact its spawn rate and make it hard to find. So anyway, let's take a quick look at them. You got the Ceratosaurus, which is a cool theropod that's somewhere between, I would put this somewhere around the Allosaur size roughly, maybe a little bit bigger, maybe a little bit smaller. The Dinosuchus, which is kind of like the Sarcosuchus, only more of an alligator than a crocodile and much, much larger, which is badass. That sounds badass. The Brachiosaurus, a sauropod, which is much larger, and it actually dwarfs the Brontosaurus, and I've heard people call it a Giga Killer. Definitely would love to experience one of them. The Archelon, which seems to be a primitive, or prehistoric, I should say, sea turtle type creature. The Dinotherium, which is kind of like the Paraceratherium, but the Dinotherium looks more like an elephantine creature, you know, with the trunk and all that, and the larger ears. Kind of neat. I understand they work in packs and all that, which will make them maybe a little more challenging to face off against. The Helicoprion, which is an ancient shark type. I think this still exists to this day, or some form of it does. If my memory serves me correct, that creature has a lower jaw that almost looks like a buzzsaw, which is pretty damn cool, or like a nautilus of teeth. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but pretty wild looking creature, if it's the one I'm thinking about. And then the Xiphactinus, which is another ocean creature, another aquatic creature, some kind of fish. It looks like a deep sea fish, very toothy, very vicious and dangerous looking. So, you know, that's just a small variety of creatures that are available at this time. I'm sure people are going to be porting in tons and tons of creatures. I'm sure we're going to see the Indominus Rex and all that from Jurassic Park, and maybe we'll see some dinos brought in from Jurassic Park or with the look of Jurassic Park on it. Maybe we'll see some more variations of Ceratosaurs and stuff like that. Who knows? I mean, the possibilities are endless. There are just tons and tons of prehistoric creatures that haven't even been introduced into the game yet, and definitely looking forward to them. I like the more natural ones. I like the more realistic ones, the ones that actually existed, as opposed to crazy creatures that never existed. I mean, it's cool and all that, and as Ark has developed and evolved, so have the creatures in it. You know, in the base game, we started off with very basic prehistoric creatures. In Scorched Earth, we got wyverns. In Aberration, we got rock drakes and, you know, all these crazy things just slowly got introduced into the game, straying further and further from the reality of what used to exist in the world. And that's not a problem. It's cool. You know, we even got mechanical creatures by the time Extinction came out, and and it just Genesis. Oh, it just gets crazier and crazier. So, but I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't introduce these creatures to the island or Aberration or anything like that. What I would put them on, however, is the maps that were mod made. Made by modders, like the Center, Ragnarok, stuff like that, because I don't think the balance on those maps is as important, because they're not story-based maps so much as they are more sandbox type maps where you can just go in and have fun, do whatever you want, build wherever you want. Yeah, there's boss fights, yeah, there's this and that, there's caves to explore and stuff, but I think they would fit more in on those maps than they would your basic regular map that was part of the actual game. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. What mods are you looking forward to for Ark Survival Ascended? If you're playing on PC, which ones are you using right now, and what do you think of them? Are they functional? Are they stable? Are they causing crashes or issues? Are they working as intended? Yeah, I'd love to hear back from you down below in the comments. Don't forget to share this video out, leave a like on it down below, and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, peace.